Well, good evening, everyone. Another Airfix and Chill on a Monday. And boys, it's got colder, hasn't it? The winter chill's really coming in now. I put my boiler on today and it doesn't work, so we've got to get the plumber in next week. Sod's law, innit? You know, I tell you what, I had a real shock this week because I was doing my books and everything, realised that I've spent nearly 600 odd, more than £600 on Airfix this year. I thought I better put me van use involved in all this, so because I run business and everything. And I looked back in April when my van went in for a service, and that's all it had. So I've been driving around in my van for the last 6 months with no MOT. So it went straight into the garage this morning and got MOT'd. It flew through, nothing wrong with the van whatsoever, apart from a light, side light on the side of the van. That's what needed changing. You know, and I said to my mechanic, I said, I swear, because you did the brakes, didn't you? You went, yeah, we did the brakes on it. We didn't do an MOT. You went, no, we didn't. Looking back at records. So there's me thinking it had gone in that month to get, because you try and do it at the same time, don't you? You know, 10,000 miles a year, 12,000 miles a year, get the MOT done at the same time, give it a service, do it what needs doing to it. But the MOT weren't done. So, luckily,
lucky you didn't have an accident then, because that would also mean you weren't insured.
Exactly. Yeah. I know, scary time, but you know, I was quite embarrassed. I'll end up with a knock on the door now from the police. Somebody's saying that one of them. Luckily, yeah. So
you end up with it being claimed having an untaxed vehicle on it.
No, it was taxed. That was the thing. When I checked, you know, to check your reg, green was taxed, red MOT had failed. MOT had run out, so. I was a bit worried, actually. I really did scare myself, actually. So I'll probably get 3 points on my license for that now, innit, or something, and whatever fine. So, anyways, I don't know why I shared that, but hey, anyway, so tonight, I'm an honest guy. We're going to talk about glues and cements. I'm going up to Keswick this week, and I'm taking a load of starter sets up with me and a load of bump and knives and everything. And I was reminded of an email that I had an email exchange with one of the chaps who just started scale modeling. He was asking me about cement, glues, and what you use and when. And I thought we'd have a discussion tonight about, and to go back to basics really, about cements. And I'm going to kick the ball off because I think every one of us here uses some form of Tamiya extra thin, or have done when they're building models. It's not the nicest cement, it's as in when it comes to chemical wise, but it was a game changer. Back in the day when I was in the I'll say in the early 90s, I did a lot of railway stuff, and we used to use this stuff called Daywatts, and another version of it was called Poso. And basically, you get your brush and just dip it in and dip it on the plastic, and it will just basically push it together. Plastic, Deluxe Materials, Plastic Magic have brought out a thin liquid plastic cement. It's called 10-second cement, and allegedly. Well, because allegedly, because they say here it's non-toxic. So if I'm going to give any chemicals to a child to build scale modeling, I think this could be an answer. So I'm going to try it this week with him, how we get on with it. But I'm going to just put it out to the floor there. What sort of cements do you use, and what glues do you use when you build scale modeling? And if you've got any questions in the chat, let us know. We've had 101 comments already, so we'll have to go back. But it's this is non-toxic, so I want to know how this actually works. I'm assuming that it would still melt the plastic, because that's how cement works, isn't it? It's not really a glue. It's a chemical that causes the plastic to heat up, melt, and then bond together.
Yeah, it's like a weld, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a chemical weld.
Yeah.
Sniff it, Moz.
I have sniffed it.
Drink it.
There's hardly any odor. It's very, very strange.
It's just destroyed his nostrils. That's all.
No, yeah, probably. No.
Destroyed one
No
brain
longer has a sense of smell.
I'd like to know what's in it, to be honest. How that works. It
Ask
works
Deluxe
on-
Materials for the Kosh sheet.
Yeah. And it's not even flammable either. It's non-flammable, non-toxic, minimal odor. And you pick up a bottle of Tamiya and it gives you cancer in California. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Does everyone else here use Tamiya Extra Thin
Yes.
on everything?
Yeah, I use a mix.
Not on everything.
So, if I'm using
Rebel Contactor as well.
Rebel Contactor. Yeah, but where would you use that instead of Tamiya Extra? That's sort of the idea I'm trying to get through is because I use Contactor or this stuff on wings because I want it thick, if you know what I mean, on the wings.
Yeah. So the only time I don't use the mixer is if I'm building Rubicon kits
Okay.
or Citadel kits, because the plastic is slightly different. So then I use Plastic Magic because that works really well. You can use Extra Thin, but it's not as.
Well, is it on Rubicon kit?
Yeah. You can use Extra Thin, but I think it's ABS plastic.
Yeah, you said to me it's ABS plastic, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because I asked you the question.
Slightly different to styrene, but if I'm using styrene, which is what we mostly use, isn't it? Then I mix Extra Thin, 50%. I'm clearly not environmentally conscious with EMA Plastic World.
Oh, you've got that stuff.
Yeah.
Do
So I
you know
use
what-
a 50-50 mix. So 50% Extra Thin, 50% EMA. It's noxious, it stinks, but it's good.
When I had to repair my my Tamiya Stein up here, I'll get the Rebel one out. This is like a really hard plastic. I used that EMA on this to I had to repair it on the Tamiya one, but I can't get it down. But on this one, it's like this sort of plastic. It's like real ABS hard, and I used that stuff, and I was blown away how well it went. My only issue is that when I went to use it again, even though the bottle was fully cranked up, it evaporated.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've never had. I mean, it might have evaporated a little bit.
Yeah.
But I've never really had an issue where it's gone. And it's all kept, like I say, as a 50-50 mix in an Extra Thin jar.
And do you use that on everything? Do you?
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much.
That's interesting.
It's very strong. Very strong.
You make your own though, don't you?
Alex makes his own. Yeah.
Indeed, I do. Yeah. And I mean, there are lots of solvents that you can use as plastic cement. Most of them will have butyl acetate in them or methyl ether ketone. Those are the two big ones with acetone.
Yeah.
There's other things you can put in as well. And most like tube cements or like the precision cements as well have a little bit of styrene in them to give them like the thickness. And all that's doing is just extending the contact time. So you get a bond, basically. You're dissolving more of the plastic. So it retards the evaporation. But I'm interested to see what the deluxe materials ones is. I've tried to find the cost sheet for it, and I can't see it.
But
I mean, there were some attempts at sort of having a environmentally friendly. Don't know if anybody remembers the ones that smell like oranges, which is basically limonene, which is the same thing. It's not great.
Yeah. I don't recall who said it, but I would say that some extra thing dries too fast for a newbie, and you'll have to reposition anything. Correct that say, without contactor dries a bit slower. I think I do like without contactor. I think it's a bloody good glue. You know, that's the precision one. I've got the contactor at the back there. But it's exactly the same. As I actually find this a little bit slower burning, and so you can reposition this. But I like to use a needle for those, like around the wing edges and stuff, or I'll use this in where the locating pins are, if you know what I mean, and the holes. And then you go around the edge then with the Tamiya extra thin, just dab the brush in, so you got complete reaction to get it to join up. So when I came back to modding a year and a half ago, I was just using O-Tester's tube glue. Then I discovered this wonderful stuff called Tamiya extra thin. It was a game changer, but it's nothing new, because I said the railway guys were using it back in the day. The only thing different now, I believe, is that they don't use, is it butanol? They've banned that substance, didn't they, or something? Because it used to be butanol that was in the glue, in the cement, and now they just use there's two chemicals in it, isn't there, that they use in Tamiya. That's it, butyl acetate. That's it, and that's where you get the reaction. And then, but it'll be interesting to, because apparently you can actually sell this in Japan because of low odor. But it's an interesting thing to have, because if you're working with children, this stuff is just, this stuff that you get sent in with your starter sets.
Yeah.
It does have a purpose, and to be fair, I've used it to do a starter set with, because we've all done the starter set challenge, haven't we? Or some of us have. That Matt from Model Minutes set us up with, and we had to use everything that was in the box and nothing else. Could you build a starter set just with that? And you can, if you know how to use it properly, but still, it's not the nicest, and it is, and also. Dale was saying to me that that in America you can't ship this by air. You've got to ship it by truck. Is that right, Brett? You can't. Starter sets are a problem to ship because you can't ship them by air because of this stuff. You're mute.
Most companies take the glue out of it before they ship it because nobody wants the glue anyway.
Oh, right.
So we just take the glue out of the starter pack and ship it.
Fair play.
Unless someone specifically asks for the glue, we just take it out.
Yeah.
So Moss, Simon Greaves has asked a question about methylene chloride.
Oh, right. Hang on. Yeah, I see it now. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the reasons that you don't see methylene chloride around, again, it's just another solvent, right? There's no reaction when you're using this stuff with plastic. It melts the plastic. That's the whole purpose of it. And a lot of solvents that can do that. But chlorinated solvents have gone the way of, CFCs and stuff. So there's a lot of kosh control over chlorinated solvents. So the impact to the environment is higher. So they're controlled a lot more. So that's why you don't see them as much. Yeah. They're very effective.
Apparently, that's what this is.
Yeah.
Methylene chloride.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you've not got a bubbling cauldron there if you're mixing that with that. Your eyes are like, here, oh yeah, I've mixed in.
Nothing wrong, to be honest.
When I was a youngster, somebody mixed bleach with something at school because they were trying to clean something, and it just basically the fumes that came out of it, crumbs. And I've always been a bit wary of mixing chemicals. Do you know what I mean? But if it works for you and it works, then why not?
Really good.
Yeah, you should never mix cleaning products together, because what you can do is Vim is the one. Vim with bleach. You'll liberate chlorine gas, which is super toxic. You can kill yourself.
Yeah, that's what they would do.
That's why they banned bleach on planes.
Yeah,
because it mixed with Vim.
Yeah.
Fertilizer's good for making bombs.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. It's like, that was the thing. It was in the toilet, and they had these, what they call urinal cakes, and then they were spraying bleach on it, and it was reacting. You know what I mean? And one of us got A's in our English. I don't know what it is. I've always been afraid. Mostly it depends on what and how the large parts are. wing halves and large parts, white top. On like the white top Tamiya stuff. Because that, yeah.
White resin glue. That one.
Yeah. Small bits, contactor or TT, transparent parts depends to might be TT or PVA like, which brings me on to PVA because I think Revell bring out a contactor which is PVA based, don't they? Have I got it here somewhere?
Yeah, contactor clear.
Yeah, they do a contactor clear, which I presume is just PVA. I think that's just PVA, and to be fair, I'm a bugger because I have fogged up many a glass because I don't want to use this. I'd rather just risk it with some Tamiya extra thin, but gingerly like brush it on with just a little bristle, like so that it tacks in. I know that there's a glue by VMS that you can use for plastic, and then you use their weathering carrier to remove the excess from the plastic, and it doesn't leave a residue. Have anybody done that?
Yeah, transfer fix it's called.
Yeah, so if you get a bit of a mess on it, you can then use the weathering carrier to remove it off the plastic. Is that good stuff then?
Really good for clear parts. Really.
Yeah. Just looking now, I thought I had some, but maybe I don't. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I have got some. Yeah, a universal weathering carrier will just remove any of the excess.
Mm-hmm.
What super glues do you guys use? Because I don't like super glues in a tube. I like the Bostik stuff you can get in a brush. I think World of Wayne got me onto it when I was doing that dreaded pocket kit. And he does a lot with it's like a little tub. Is it Bostik or something? And it is super glue, but it comes. You pull it apart, and there's a brush in there. You can brush it on. I like using that for a lot of stuff. I prefer using a brush.
I use two versions of that, which is Loctite CA glue. So that one, the black one is like a gel almost.
Yeah.
The grey one is like a liquid, like a traditional super glue, quite thin. And then if I'm doing,
hold that up again, Luke. It looks like Thunderbird 1, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does, actually, it does.
So essentially, the way you use these, you squeeze these grey bits in, and
Looks like a spaceship.
Or if I'm using, because I use CA glue as a filler.
Yeah.
I use VMS Black 5K.
But that does dry very slowly, though, I found.
Yeah, I mean, I mix it with talc. Be careful on which talc you use, because not all talc works.
Yeah.
No.
Newer talc, like new formulation baby powder doesn't.
Oh, you want the talc that's banned in California?
Yeah.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Better it works, yeah. So I use
Everything's
that.
banned in California.
John Alec put me onto this stuff.
Yeah, man, the stuff's great.
It's
One little,
brilliant.
too much comes out though. At one squirt, it's like, but it does.
So
It does
as a
work.
kicker for all the CA glues, I use Rocket Blaster.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's really good. I use a debonder. I can't put my hand on that now if I need to. And then for PVA glue for smaller things, PE especially, because it gives you time to manipulate the PE and move it, I use the MIG Ultra glue.
Oh, is that this one here? That one there?
That's it, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That.
If I'm doing bigger areas where I need PVA, then I just use cheap PVA glue, basically, because it's the same thing. That's just more refined, I would imagine.
Just don't wipe
can
it
mix
off
it.
a cotton bud.
Yeah, you can mix it with water or whatever.
Yeah,
It works
that's what I
fine.
use. I use the clear stuff from Hobbycraft, which is a mistake. The mistake is I thought I was being clever. I'll use this stuff, but when it's like that, you don't know when it's dry. When it's white, it's not dry. So many a time I've used. I don't use it so much now, but I've used it in the past, and I've done something with it, and then thinking, "Oh, it's dry," and then my thumb's gone on it, and bang, if you know what I mean. That's the
then
only
if
that's the one for that.
Okay.
The other glue I've used for both clear parts and photo etch is acrylic glue.
Okay.
So that is, it looks like PVA, but it's exactly the same. So if you think about, I'm going to go chemistry now. So you can get vinyl-based paints, and the reason you don't have vinyl-based paints as much as acrylic-based paints, vinyl is cheaper, acrylic is harder. So it's exactly the same with glue. Acrylic glue is basically stronger than vinyl, polyvinyl acetate. This is like an acrylic acetate. So it looks exactly the same as PVA glue, but it's stronger. So
What
it's
sort
quite
of
a good
brand would that be then, Alex? Because I've never heard of that. That's a new one on me. That is, to be fair.
I think Gorilla did a no. It was I can't remember. It's an American brand that first switched me onto it. It was actually a guy came in the shop asking for it, but you can buy it in various different brands. It's you can buy. You don't need to buy a branded one.
So it's not called PVA. It's called something different, then, is it?
No, it's not PVA because that's vinyl acetate. It's acrylic glue.
Acrylic glue. Fair enough. I must look into that.
It doesn't cost much. You can buy like a little, tub of it for £3.
Yeah.
Little applicator stuff.
I'll try that. We'll try that. I mean, if I'm doing like XPS foam, you have to be quite careful with glues because it will melt into the foam if you're doing dioramas and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So probably the best thing, you can get these really cheap, is get one of those hot glue gun. And it's quite strong. It's quite strong. And the good thing about XPS foam is what you can do. I think I'll show it on the channel. I think with the T55 build. So to strengthen the bond is insert cocktail sticks into the SPS foam, and they use hot glue to create the bond.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
right.
the sticks will hold it at like right angles or straight or angled or whatever you want. The other thing you can use on XPS foam without it melting into the foam is Gorilla Glue Clear.
Okay.
That works, but that's a very expensive way of doing it as opposed to a hot glue.
Yeah.
You know? Hot glue gun you can get off Amazon for like a tenner, and they'll send you 50 glue sticks or whatever, and it works fine for that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think even Aldi and Lidl sell them. And they're almost instant, aren't they? Because it's just
literally, it dries really quick. It's almost instant, and that's great if you're doing like structural stuff because PVA glue will work. However, the drying time creates you problems when you're doing like structural type stuff because you've got to wait for the PVA to go off before you can do the next bit. Whereas hot glue is more or less instant.
Yeah. Methylene chloride does not fog up clear canopies. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Because if there was a glue like that wouldn't fog up, how would it not fog it up though? Because
it doesn't fog up canopies, just kills dolphins.
Yeah. So if you want to be John West, tuna killer, yeah, fair enough. I was just going to say about hot glue guns. I have never ever owned a hot glue gun, but I have hundreds of the glue sticks.
Yeah.
Because I just get a lighter and heat it up.
Yeah.
We had to send 200 laptops to a third world country, and we had these power packs with the kettle leads. And I said they're just going to lose these kettle leads if you keep the power pack and the kettle lead together. So I just basically was heating up the sticks, wiping the glue on the plug, and then shoving it in the power pack so they wouldn't lose it. And it was a good strong bond, Yeah, they weren't having that because they do they steal things like that. It's weird. So
the story is don't buy a laptop from us.
No, don't. Well, the power pack will definitely come with a cattle lead. I tell you, you know what I mean. That's what we used to do. We used to get the hot glue and just wipe it round the edge of the plug, then shove it in the socket, and that will not leave. It's good stuff. Yeah, but I've never ever used hot glue. I will tell a lie. I think it was Spencer Pollard was demonstrating how to make a transport box for your model using the foam board,
Yeah.
and he uses a hot glue gun. So I was tempted to buy one then, but I haven't yet. So
Another glue that you can use for
Mm.
excess foam board, that sort of stuff, is that stuff that's made by Uhu, but it's the POR. That's really good, and the
Yeah.
bond is so strong.
Mm.
But the drying time is, if you do structural stuff, then yeah, it takes a while to dry, but it's very good glue.
Yeah. It's I have a bottle of Revel Contactor Liquid Special. Wonder what that is. Not seen that on the market.
I have. It's like a 2-part glue.
Oh, is
Cool.
it? It's not that glue which you then use UV light, is it? Because I've got some of that in the back.
No. It's basically it's in a jar.
Is it
Some of
epoxy
like
resin?
You paint one on one part. The coat paint. You basically it's like a contact adhesive.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you paint one side, then paint the other, wait for it to dry, then bang it together. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
I know that I know Revell brought out the UV glue, which I've got. I used it on canopies, or tried to use it on a canopy, and it didn't work for me. And I realised that when the UV hits the glue, that's when it sets, but it doesn't set on the inside. If you know what I mean, it will set on the edge, but I couldn't get it to set on the inside. But it's good stuff if you can get the glue to go round. But again, you know, it's
also good on you if you've got any tooth problems, Moz.
Well, don't go there, mate. Cost me a fortune. Cost me a bloody fortune. Bleach with isopropyl is not good either. Chloroform. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I don't want to go into that. VMS 5K Flexi CA glue and there's Transfer Fix, which you have to dilute to use, are the only glue I use now. VMS CA glue filler powder is awesome for making filler and has a handy bottle. I've not seen that.
Yeah, you can get it over here, I think.
Oh, fair. I'll chat with you about it, Joe. So, Joe, you don't use any cement at all? Are you just basically using super glue for all your models now? You don't use any hot weld glue on your models, Jared? Let us know in the comments. I'll put it back up. Baking soda is accelerator for super glue, and when it's cured, you can machine it with a rotary tool. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that is true.
Baking soda and alcohol.
Yeah. I once super glued my wedding ring to my finger. Really did want my marriage to be that permanent. That's why you see these guys with tattoos now. They don't bother with the wedding ring, and they just put a tattoo on, don't they? So
yeah.
That's why I use nail glue.
Ring off, so. Oof.
Only why I use the nail glue. What nail glue is that? What any old
That's the acrylic glue. That's the one they use on the acrylic nails.
Yeah,
that's the acrylic nails. Is the acrylic glue? Is it?
Yeah.
I'll have to speak to my wife then, because she does her own nails.
I
don't know it. It's in my back. Ever build industrial grade super glue HV Jarvis cyclonic adhesive, super glue liquid, and rocket blaster? Oh, those are the glues you use. Oh, fair enough. I've just found MechPack. It was Slater's Plasticard who sold it for the railway scenes.
Yeah.
Interesting. I've heard of that stuff.
That stuff sticks Plasticard like nobody's business.
Right, once it's on, that's it then, is it? Right. I never realised this. I used to go through a few wired hot glue guns before I was gifted a cordless glue gun. Real game changer if you use hot glue a lot. I just always thought it was messy. Hot glue. I just thought it'd be messy, and wouldn't there be a risk of that hot glue melting the plastic?
No.
I suppose the plastic's at a higher temperature when it's forced into the tooling. Then I guess. So, yeah. I am now using ASK adhesives. They are available in several densities and not smelly. Stick quickly and nicely. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, we all remember Bostik glue. There's no magic glue under the sun. Time is your friend. Oh, fair enough. I just do what others do and use whatever Nigel does. But he does it. But then he does it all. Because didn't he do a video the other week? Because he was trying. I can't remember which kit it was. He was really struggling with a kit. Was it border models? But anyway,
No, I think it was. Oh God, was it BP big plane kits?
big plane kits,
Yeah,
and he couldn't get the plastic to weld, could he?
yeah. No, he couldn't get it to stick. And he was doing tensile tests with it.
Yeah, and he used Mr. Hobby in the end, didn't he, or something?
Yeah.
Was it the Stuka 124 Stuka?
No, Stuka he's used VMS black Flexi Black.
Right. I assume everybody here does use cement then when they build it. They don't just use super glue to put their model kits together.
No.
No, fair enough.
It's contactor.
Hot glue gun in reference to building diorama scenes, not models. Yeah, I did query that when I said it, actually. I don't do a lot. To use super glue for joints on, say, fuselage halves, you have to. To use super glue for joints on, say, fuselage halves, you have to. I see. Okay.
Agree with that. You want a welding glue to weld fuselage halves together and wing roots and stuff like that because it reduces the amount of filler you need to use.
Yeah. I wonder is there any danger, just asking, if you're sanding off CA, is there any danger of the mesh you get from sanding CA? Is there any danger to that?
No additional danger other than the danger of the dust.
The dust, yeah.
Which you shouldn't really be breathing in dust particles into the lungs. They're not good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think most things that we do and most things that we use, unless you're really, really careful,
yeah,
most things would come with some sort of health warning. You know, sanding styrene on its own without any CA glue on it, like Alex said, creating dust that you're breathing in. But I would argue that walking around any city centre in the UK, is just as hard because we're doing such small amounts. Do you know what I mean? That yes, it's not healthy. You shouldn't be breathing anything in that isn't, air, clean air. But we don't, in the Western world, we don't breathe in clean air. Maybe Brett up in the mountains in Colorado, maybe. But certainly any city centre in the UK or any town centre, you're breathing in all sorts of noxious chemicals. It's just the way it is.
Well, that's it.
It's a bit like the safety warnings on Tamiya paint, right? They've got like a flammable, they've got an irritant, unless you're drinking the stuff and huffing it daily.
Whilst it's light.
Like the risk to your health is less than probably having a glass of whiskey on your desk.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. It's like, because I just look at it whenever I see Tamiya and it says it's been suggested in California, so I just look at that and think, well, if I'm not in California, it's not going to do me any damage, is it? You know what I mean? I'm just going to point out that there's 4 of us here, 5 of us here with beards. And I'm pretty sure that where Brett lives, he's got the best beard because of where he lives. Do you know what I mean? Ours is falling off because we're in cities and stuff. You know what I mean? Not on mountain air. So James A just wrote this. What's with the plastics that some manufacturers are using that crumble under certain conditions and chemicals, like mineral spirits? Bandai and some new Revell kits are a point in case. I've not come across that.
I've heard it. I've heard of it with Bandai kits.
Yeah.
And they used obviously an enamel wash, and it had mineral spirits in it. It's a thinner.
Talcum is probably my least favorite plastic to work with.
Yeah. A lot of
Do you
people
remember
say that.
the company that Nigel was building and he ended up chucking it in the bin because it just turned into
Yeah.
a molten mess?
I
Wasn't
think
that Mac 1?
Yeah, it could be. My experience with Bandai is they use in their kits, they use different types of plastic in the same kit. So, for example, the last one it happened to me years ago now, because I kind of learned my lesson, was the AT-AT Walker from Star Wars.
Mm.
Oh, not the AT-AT, the ATST.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The plastic itself, the main plastic for the kit, is absolutely fine, no issues. But where the joints are, because they make a lot of their kits, particularly their Gundam stuff, is movable and posable. The plastic they use for the joints is a different sort of plastic. I don't know whether it's some sort of vinyl. I don't know the science. But if you use like enamel washes or mineral spirits on those bits, then it sort of weakens and almost melts and corrodes that type of plastic. So you'll build this like ATST and it'll look amazing with your enamel wash and all the weathering. You'll come back the next morning, it's got no legs. Ask me how I know.
Well, I was just going to say was the thing about Bandai is not necessarily they use different plastic, but the amount of different colors you get in a box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I love it. You know, I just watched Matt did the R2D2 and the what's it called? The ball. What I can't it was called now.
BB-8.
BB-8, yeah, BB-8. So, and the colours that it got in that box was phenomenal. Even I know it's familiar with transfers, but you could have built that kit without any need of paint.
Yeah,
So I was wondering whether there's a reaction to the colour that they put into it. Because I'm saying
the type of plastic they use, they do use different types of plastic.
Yeah.
So if they're using styrene, they will have styrene of different colours, and I've never had an issue.
Yeah.
But a lot of the plastic they use in their joints and stuff is a different sort of plastic. I don't know what type of plastic it is. But the way to avoid it is just don't use anything sort of enamel mineral spirits based. There's plenty of non-toxic acrylic type products out there that you can use. Water-based washes, whether they be Ultimate, Flory, whatever, they're non-toxic. They're water-based. Use those instead, and then you'll never have an issue.
Would you have to be concerned about what paint you put on those parts?
I've used lacquer paint on them without an issue.
Yeah.
I made the ATST with ammo glue, used Tamiya paint and panel line, no problems whatsoever. I don't. Yeah, it's we've all built models and we've done something to it that we're not too sure what we've done, and we've those things do happen. So, so we want to go back to Jared a minute. To use CA on, say, fuselage house, you have to carve off the edge to create a trench. Then the CA is also the filler. I saw what you've done. So when you put in the fuselage together, you've basically sheared off a part of it, then just drip the CA glue inside, then you sanded it off. That's a fair shout.
Basically like welding.
Yeah. I'm more of a case of, when it comes to fuselage halves, if you put enough CA in there, Tamiya extra thin in there, and squeeze it hard enough, it should just make its own thing. And 9 times out of 10, once you've sanded off that edge, it's normally flat anyway. So
you almost, don't you? If you get it right and put it under enough pressure, right amount of extra thin, you will almost create like sprue goo in the coin that then you can sand back once it's fully cured.
Yeah. Okay. When you think about it, our model then should have a multitude of cost signs. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Honestly, some of the stuff we reuse, but then I tried to go down the route of being more careful. It's like we had in the Scale Model Club Discord on the group chat today. People were asking about how to remove paint off plastic, and people were suggesting brake fluid. Not me. I'd rather wait another day and just dip it in Dettol, because Dettol's easy to get rid of as well. You just flush it down the toilet, don't you? And it's you know, you need to.
You used to be able to use fairy spray. Do you remember the fairy
And,
spray?
and it cleans the toilet as well.
Yeah, cleans the toilet as well.
Good. It didn't work for me. I tried it.
No,
Alex,
I've got mixed reviews with that.
sorry, Nick. I just had a up there. Alex is the Walter White of the modelling world.
Oh,
He's Heisenberg.
Yeah, when he goes into his little den to build a model, he's not building a model, he's cooking a model. Remember Matchbox coloured plastic? Yeah, and it brings back great memories now, and I don't see why.
Colour kits. Because they actually had the number of colours on the back, didn't they?
Yeah. I have found that when joining PE to plastic, you can put a small drop of Tamiya white top on the plastic, wait for it to soften, then push the PE into the plastic.
Yep.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, because when you're using a cement rather than a glue, it softens the plastic, doesn't it? It creates a weld, a chemical weld. So with PE, you can absolutely do that. If you're trying to attach PE to plastic, it takes some practice to know how much and blah blah blah, but you can soften the plastic enough that you can put the PE in, and then once the plastic hardens, which it will, forever.
That's a good shout. That I never thought of doing that. Well done, Celtic. I like that.
Yeah.
Why mod 6510 and not mod 6502? Come on, you know better. I know. This computer hack. Right, move on. Once it's melted, you'll find it will never harden to the same size mass. No more ghost seams for me, thanks. That brings a good point, you know. I never thought of doing it. I've never thought of that before. Ghost seams are just bastards. They come out of the woodwork, don't they? Yeah.
Especially on trumpeter kits.
Trumpeter kits.
Ghost seams are a nightmare.
But you've made me think about that, Jared. I'll have to have a look into that. I never thought of doing that, you know. Maybe that's a new technique that I can work on some old starter sets or something. You know what I mean? But yeah, you know, that's blown me away. I never thought about melting the plastic to put PE. But then again, I don't like PE anyway, so it doesn't really bother me. Any other glues you can think of that we use in scale modelling that we haven't talked about? I'm just trying to think. I think we've covered the whole subject, haven't we? Really,
more or less, yeah.
More or less.
Very much. There's so much out there.
Yeah.
And every company that released a glue was like, "This is a game changer. But it's horses for courses."
Yeah.
So, am I going to use hot glue to build a 72-second scale Spitfire? Absolutely not. But
that would be a good starter set challenge.
But at the same time, I'm not going to use extra things to try and glue XPS foam together. Yeah. You know, it's all relative to what you're trying to achieve. Isn't it? And
hi, Nigel.
It's personal preference, but I don't know many modelers that don't try something and end up still using extra thin. I don't know many. I really don't.
Alex mentioned acrylic glue. The Ammo Ultra glue is acrylic.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I'll be buggered. Acrylic adhesive, especially designed for photo etch or clear parts. So there you go. That's acrylic glue.
Okay.
I think somebody mentioned in the chat as well two-part epoxy.
Like
5-minute epoxy, because like the old like Araldite stuff took 24 hours to harden. Yeah, it's just like but 5-minute epoxy is good if you need like a really super strong bond. It's like if you're putting like some of the big resin like aftermarket like tubs for aircraft, you know, you can tack them in with super glue. But then 5-minute epoxy really will give you a solid bond. But you do need to tack it in with cyanoacrylate first, because until it's set, and 5 minutes doesn't sound long, But in modelling, it's an age, and it will slip. So you need to have it in position.
This old Lou Del Masso's Aztec dummy, and he uses 1 minute epoxy on a lot of his kits.
So
you got 1 minute as well.
See, I've been using this stuff, epoxy putty, and then what I do is I get liquid gravity, and when I'm mixing, because basically you can see there, it's like I don't want to open it because I don't want to ruin it, but basically it's white. This is green on the outside, then white in the middle. So it looks like what do they call it, candy stick stuff.
Yeah.
So you cut the bit you want, and then what I do is I'm kneading it together with my fingers. I'm adding liquid gravity to it for the extra weight, and then I just force that into any space I can. So, but I that's the only time I use epoxy putties if I need to put a bit of weight in. And I've never had a discoloration from it either because it just sets hard. There's no liquid or anything involved. It's just a hard. So that's what and I'm buying this from. I get it from the local market in Taunton. The guy there, I call him Cheap Tool Man because he's got like every tool's a pound. You know what I mean? You'd only use it once on a screwdriver. The screwdriver is only used once. And so the only good thing then is to skewing his chicken on a barbecue. Do you know what I mean? Because the head's gone on it. But I picked this up for £1 a go, and it's pretty good stuff. That's what I only ever use inside. So that's the only other thing that's adhesive that I use, but I think everything else has all been mentioned. But we'll go into does quick drying Tamiya extra thin? You're talking about the light green top, not the green top. Really work as well. I find that it doesn't stick so well.
The problem with any the quicker, and this goes for all smats, not just Tamiya, is if you think about a weld, the longer the contact time is, the stronger, the deeper the bond is. So a very fast glue is great for small parts, especially really small parts, the kind that will melt away if you put on, contact or something. Yeah. But it's not going to have the same depth of bond. So if you're using it to glue a 35th scale AFV hull together or a 48th scale fuselage, you can do it kind of like tacking it along and holding it, going along. But do you really want to do that? Or do you want to, as Luke said, it's horses for courses, right? You just got to use the right tool for the job. So any quick drying cement is great for those, quick fixes of small bits, but you're not going to use them to glue. You wouldn't use it on a 1/32nd scale Lancaster.
I've always said that I only ever use and this is for me, the quick drying extra thin stuff, as if anything's like 1 millimeter or 2 millimeters. So it's like I'm putting in the guns, aerial mass and the guns in the front. Just go around the edge of it and stick it. That's all because it doesn't need to be a big bond there. I wouldn't use really quick stuff to do the edge of a wing or anything like that. It's for the really small parts, like your actual the edges of the in the cockpit and stuff like that. That's the only place I've ever used it. I've tried to use it on a seat, but I feel that putting in a good bond using the normal Tamiya it does just a good job. And
that's why this stuff is so popular, is because it's so versatile. It's a good balance between all those. You can use it on small parts and not mess them up. You can use it on bigger parts and still get a decent bond. It might not be the perfect glue for every circumstance, but it's got such a broad range, that it's just super useful. So.
Yeah.
And spill it.
And you can spill it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, I don't actually use Tamiya extra thin. Okay, I don't use it. I actually buy big bottles of. I can't find it now. This stuff here, and then refill it using this stuff. Or you can use.
Although mine is in this bottle, boss. I made this myself, so it's not actually Tamiya.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I use Mr. Tool Cleaner or I use Airbrush Cleaner from Tamiya. It's exactly the same stuff, but you get more in a bottle, if you know what I mean.
Well, I think my Tamiya extra thing is man's model moments glue in there.
Yeah.
Although I must say, mine is about 10% styrene at the moment. You can't even see through it.
Yeah. That adds to it, mate. I wouldn't let it worry you. It adds to it.
Mine's
Nigel,
10% mini.
I personally think TET is losing something. It doesn't seem as hot anymore.
He's probably left the top off and let off all the acetone.
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know.
I've had it go off as well. I've had tech go off before.
Yeah. It's that's a good.
Basically, I brought a new bottle and it's been fine.
It must have a shelf life.
Yeah, I think pretty much every product has a shelf life, doesn't it?
So I got this.
Earlier, Moss, about using weights.
Hang on, John.
Sorry.
John. Brett, what are you saying, Brett?
I got this AK extra thin citrus cement a while ago.
Yeah.
I never tried it before, so I'm sitting here trying it on this engine, and it's not holding at all, and it's still flammable and highly flammable, liquid and vapors, and it smells like an orange. But
That's D-limonene.
this is Revell plastic, and usually it melts with anything. I wouldn't recommend getting this. Since it's not non-toxic and it smells like something you'd want to drink, and all work parts together.
Yeah.
I've been sitting here for 10 minutes now trying to get it to hold this one joint right here, and
That's amazing.
it just comes right apart. 10 minutes I've been holding that.
Yeah.
So I don't recommend that.
But I don't get that. So why would they release a product that? Yeah, I think they didn't test it.
Maybe it's for
It's even-
plastic like Taco.
It's even the color of a lime.
Yeah.
It's not clear.
What it smells of citrus, does it?
Yeah. It smells like
Yeah.
a really good orange.
Yeah. I have MEK, not that good on some plastics. My TET is new bottles, and it just seems too cold. I don't know whether they've changed it. I don't know. I don't. It's difficult. I actually believe Mr. Hobby Ordinary Blue Cap is the best cement. That does surprise me. It can gas off if you have less than 25% in the bottle. Just more for air volume for it to go off in. Also, keep topping it up, you mean, with some tool cleaner?
I always try to keep mine topped up. I mean, mine is because I'm lazy and I don't like to put it all the way in to get the cement at the bottom.
Do you like to extend your brush?
No, I don't want to fiddle around with that.
It doesn't always work, by the way, this extending the brush. You've done it. Have you actually tried to extend it sometimes?
Yeah, I've done it.
Yeah, so you extend it, and then before you know it, it's gone back in again. So you forever, it just doesn't stay out. Yeah, it's crap. Yeah, it's one of them, really.
I think the main problem with Mr. Hobby Cement is, and again, this is why Tamiya's, I think, so popular, is availability. They're trying to get hold of Mr. Hobby products. We talked about it before with their. It's a bit hit and miss. Whereas Tamiya, I mean, you can get Tamiya anywhere.
Well, this Deluxe Materials photo etch glue, I've been using it to glue this 3D printed 426 ME together, and it's strong. It's not coming apart. It's set for about 20 minutes now, and it's not coming apart.
I do hear good things from Deluxe Materials, to be fair. I've just got their masking magic stuff to try.
Yeah, I got that too.
I've not done it yet. I'm scared to. I've got the canopies, or I don't find it. It doesn't brush on is smooth as I thought it would. Yeah, so that's 2 coats of it on there. And then the idea is that you cut. Oh, actually, I can't do that. I've got to do it again. Actually, it hasn't quite got the corners. It's like it kind of like if you don't do it properly, it kind of what's the word? It pull, so you can just see. I can't even see on the camera, but just on that edge there, it's like where it's gone to the edge and it's dried. It's come back, so you can still see a bit of the clear on there. Which I don't think is a problem because I'm going to have to cut out the middle bit. But yeah, it took a couple of coats.
Can you add to it after it's dried, Moss?
Yeah, you can. Once you dry it, you can put some more on top. Like, yeah, that's what I did. So I didn't think it covered as well. But that's, yeah. But I just think that if you're waiting for that to dry, you just as well put tape on it and cut around the tape.
Yeah.
That's my problem with it.
I mean, to be fair, that's one product that Humbrol got right. Their mascot is very good.
Yeah.
This stuff.
Well, a new mascot. The problem is that it goes off too quick.
The other problem is you can't keep it on the clear part for more than 3 days.
Why is that?
It starts eating into the plastic.
I didn't know that.
This stuff, anyway.
This masking magic stuff, I do like the thought of it, but by the time you wait for that to dry, you could have put the tape over it, marked around it with a cocktail stick, pulled it off, cut it with scissors, and put it back on again. In the time for that to dry, it just took too long to dry.
Or you can spend £4 and buy a mask set. That's what I do.
I will confess, I do like a mask set. But then again, I was trying to find one for that 148 Spitfire that Jadlam are getting us to do, and everyone's sold out of them. I think everyone had the same idea of trying to get one. So
they're a good deal, aren't they, from the shop? Has anyone ever used that for putting weights into kits?
Yes.
Liquid gravity,
yeah.
I just can't get on with it.
No.
It runs all over the inside of the fuselage. Even if I'm packing it in with plasticine and everything, you pack it in with plasticine, it just runs everywhere.
That's a shout. That's why I use the putty. But also, because all it is if you really want that stuff, it's only shot blasting powder.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah,
it's shot blasting powder, not the sand. It's the shot blasting ball bearings.
I prefer fishing weights.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I much prefer them.
Or the ones I use is the alloy. Go to your local ATS or your local Quick Fit and get the flat weights that they put on alloy wheels. That's what I use as well.
Yeah, I use BBs.
Okay, John, a kilo of fishing weights.
Yeah, that's what I used to use, but somebody taught me into using this, and it's horses for courses. It's like Luke and Matt says it is.
Yeah,
I can't get on with it.
On that subject, hi guys, by the way.
Hey,
Nigel.
I knew you couldn't stay away, Nigel.
on that subject with the lead shot,
I
used it once, and I used PVA to hold it in place, and the whole world started shouting at me, "You can't do that! You'll get a chemical reaction." Have any of you guys ever had a problem with that?
No.
I've never tried it.
No.
Never.
I mean, PVA is like really non-reactive.
The trouble with PVA, the PVA does have water in it, and that will rust out anything that's steel. If it's steel balls, it'll rust it.
Yeah, mine are copper coated.
Yeah,
I use BBs, 177 BBs.
Are you talking about bullets, John?
but really little ones.
He's probably got plenty of bullets.
I do have. I use those as well. I used to hand load for 7mm, and I don't have that anymore. And I have a whole bunch of 7mm. They're all copper jacketed. I use those. I use that in the PBY.
So don't drop
those. Yeah. So instead of using lead shot, you just use 7.62mm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yep. 7mm Remington. Yep.
They're quite heavy.
Just use bullets. Yep.
That's probably the most American thing you've ever said, John.
What do you use to weight your
7 mil.
7.62?
I've got boxes and boxes of bullets down in my basement. So
Yeah, we didn't get a tour of that on Friday.
Yeah, it's
You don't
24.
take the lead shot out, John. You just put the whole thing in, don't you?
yeah, just whole 7mm. They weigh
John would be like commando.
Yeah.
What, naked?
what do they weigh? About 90 grains. 100 grains, yeah.
Come on, no. Yeah, no pen.
Show and tell a while back, yeah.
His 24 sales Skooker has got a 50 cal in the nose.
He's got an LED in there. He's just waiting for enough heat to fire it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah, pity the IPMS judge who critiques it.
Graham, from everyone at Airfix and Chill, we wish you all the best for your brain op next Monday, mate.
Yeah. Oh my God.
In our thoughts for everything. We do hope that everything goes really well for you.
Yeah.
And keep us let us know how you're getting on, my friend. Don't leave us in the dark, all right? But you take care of yourself, mate, for next Monday. All right, Graham.
Gosh.
Did see a chemical reaction with other glues and lead pellets, apparently Alt said. So but it depends what it is, Lead is not always lead though, is it?
You need to be careful with CA glue because, but again, CA glue is really reactive. That's why it bonds really quickly.
Is that due to the vapor that it would emit as it's going on? Is that the issue with CA glue? I've never used it for that stuff. But
I think it's just a lot of CA glue, and you'll probably know this, Luke, from like using talc and stuff. It's a really what they call an exothermic reaction, so it creates a lot of heat.
Yeah.
So that could be an issue. Obviously, if you put a load of lead in the weight in the nose of an aircraft, and then you put a load of CA glue, if it generates too much heat, that can actually melt the plastic. So not the ideal situation.
I've heard of it doing that.
Litre bottles of all ingredients to make the extra thin of your choice is readily available on Fleabag. Percentages online. Fill your jars in some. Yeah, but do you know what though? When I buy that bottle of we're done with it. When I buy this, it's done for me. I don't have to bugger about with measuring it out and everything. If it's like, I buy this, and if Alex was there, I'd buy his in bottles like this, because it's just easy for me. I'm not and also it's so much chemical. It's like I'm not allowed to keep more than this sort of box in my house for insurance purposes. This is one of the biggest things we've got. I've got about 4 or 5 bottles of this down in my shed out the way. So I bought this one up to fill up my IPA bottle. That's all I've done. But when you've got lots of it around, it's not good, is it?
I think with a lot of products that we use or purchase, for me anyway, most products, so you take a wash, for example, you can make that wash much cheaper than you would buy it pre-mixed or whatever. For me, a lot of it, like you say, Moz, is just convenience. I'd buy it because it's pre-mixed and done. But I mean, I'm new to the hobby. I've only been modeling for 10 years. But people like Nigel, James, Mars, people that have been doing it for decades.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff, pre-mixed products, wasn't available.
No.
Then. So people got that mindset and that skill set to make products. Whereas for me, when I came into the hobby 10 years ago, most of this stuff you could already buy. It's like these 8K real color markers. Well, you can do exactly what they do with a brush. You can. It's just convenient. It's
convenient.
that's all it is. It's just convenience.
When I took on Outlaw Paint, and so here you go, knock your fucking bingo card up. I asked people, what paint do you use? And they said MRP, and I said why? And they go, it's already mixed. And then you talk to guys with Tamiya, and you say, why do you like the Tamiya paint LP range or whatever? And they say, all I've got to do is add this much up to the line, and it's already mixed for me. Once you've opened it, and it's already, they just pre-mix it now. They just put it in. So I think that's quite much, convenience is that one thing. I'm surprised though you said about those AK paint. They're no different to the Tamiya ones of yesteryear. But why didn't the Tamiya ones catch on as much as AK did?
I mean, I think AK originally marketed those paint pens, paint markers, whatever you want to call them. They were marketing them. AK seems to be very keen to infiltrate the sort of gaming market.
Yeah.
Tabletop gaming.
Those Tamiya ones are horrible, aren't they? They put down about a gallon of paint a second.
They don't seem to dry either.
They're awful things.
So I think having played 40k and speak to people that play 40k, that if you're into the game, the painting of the miniatures and everything else is almost secondary. What they want to do is they want to build whatever it is. They want to put some color on it and put it on the table and play the game. Whereas for idiots like me, the painting and the weathering and everything else is first and foremost. Those markers are ideal for that because you can get a 28 mil figure. You can put 3 pillars on it. Done. It's on the table. You're playing the game. It's dry within 20 minutes. And away you go. And I think and then the sort of modeling market went, that's quite a good idea for small parts and detail paint cockpits and all that sort of stuff. No different to Posca, really. Posca's probably a bit more accurate because of the nib size. But with a bit of practice, I mean, I've got some. I have used them, but I used them for novelty value, and then I forgot I got them, and I was using a brush. So again, horses for courses.
I think a lot of why the Tamiya ones and the Posca ones didn't sort of catch on like 20, 30 years ago is exactly what Luke said there. Is at the time, a lot of modelers were more used to the sort of, let's call it the scratch building kind of approach to modeling, making your own weathering powders, borrowing a lot from the model railway community as well, because a lot of modelers were rail modelers or did dioramas with them or learned from them or knew people in their club that did that. Whereas we have become increasingly, more and more lucky, if you like, as more model companies, more accessory companies come on and get more products. So if you think now, there are, like Luke said, a whole generation of modelers who just never had to do that because everything is available.
Yeah, me included. Yeah, I've never had to make my own wash, or I can do it. I know how to do it, but why would I when I can buy an AK product that's pre-mixed?
Yeah.
You babies never had the experience. You babies have never had to use bloody Humbrol gloss. That's the problem, isn't it? You know what I mean? Because that was all we could get. Humbrol gloss, enamel gloss.
Humbrol matte.
It always makes me laugh when I see on certain
testers, man.
Everyone's talking about future and pledge and why would you risk it? Because people encounter so many problems, because they don't do it right or they don't know the technique. Why risk it when you can go out and buy VMS gloss bottles?
Well, or they're just using the wrong edge.
Or LP9 or Aquaglass or whatever the gloss is that's bespoke design premium.
Because, Luke, in those days, the only choice you had was Future or X22.
Yeah. And I get that.
If you're doing a 30-second stealth Phantom, you just want to get a gloss coat down for decals, you don't want to use 3 jars of X22.
No, and I get it, but that's like saying, well, when everyone got their first PC at home, they were using Windows 95.
That's right.
I
don't use Future anymore, but I used to use it all the time.
Yeah.
And yes, it's shit.
But time moves on, doesn't it? But I've never been part of that modelling generation. So to me, it's like alien. I'm like, why would you use floor polish on your model when you can go out and buy a bespoke product? You know.
See, I'm going to stick up for Future here. I disagree with Nigel that it's shit because it's, but it's what you use it for, right? So I use it for decals exclusively. I don't use decal solution. I've always found better results with Future, and it's because of a couple of chemicals in Future.
Do you mean you put? How do you use it, Alex?
What decals? Yeah, how
I
do you
use it for decals. Yeah.
How do you use it?
I put it on the model. I put the decal on the model, and I put the Future on top as well.
So you're using it like a setting solution.
Yeah. Basically,
Right.
yeah. I don't use it.
I've
Don't use
used
it as a like varnish or something like that because it is crap.
it is shit. Yeah.
I've never had a result where it's looked even.
No.
You know, even applied by airbrush,
Yes.
it doesn't go evenly at all. It's
Yeah.
rubbish for that. I always use an actual varnish over Future afterwards to make it even. But there are a couple of chemicals. Unfortunately, and I don't know why, the chemicals that give Future its properties as a decal fix that make it really good for that are really hard to get hold of because otherwise I'd make my own.
Really?
Yeah, there's a couple. They're kind of they're plasticizers, and yeah. Fortunately, if you don't have a lab, they're quite difficult to get hold of. So.
I don't understand how Future can put decals. So they actually makes the decal conform to everything on that. Really? Because sometimes even Microsoft hit and miss, isn't it?
It does the same as a setting and a sole, like Microset and Microsol all in one. So it gives really good adhesion, pulls the decal down because it softens decal as well because of these couple of chemicals, which have really
We're
long.
going to try that now. We're going to go down to Home Bargains, buy ourselves some Future Clear.
Well, if you buy the new stuff, it doesn't have it. So the old, it's been discontinued for a couple of years now. So if you've got a bottle, good for you. But the new stuff, if it's got pledge on it, I think it was called with Future Shine or something, which is the old crystal clear. But they changed the formulation so it doesn't. Oh my god!
Look at that! Even
Look
the
at
bottle's
the changing on that label.
Yeah. I mean, this must be 30 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Buy that in Woolworths, Nigel.
I think I got it at John Lewis.
John Lewis.
Oh, okay.
It's a high-end bottle.
That's why it's 30-year-old.
Yeah, it's brilliant for
Necessarily undersold.
Hang on, Nigel speaking. Go on, Nigel.
It's brilliant for decals because it pulls down. It's like cellulose paint, dries from the inside out, so it pulls down really tight, which means you always get a really shit finish if your primer isn't perfect. Whereas like 2K, which is what everybody uses now, dries from the outside in, so it forms a perfect shell and then dries.
Oh,
That's why it's a shit varnish, because whatever you put it on, it just pulls itself in.
wow.
Whereas like LP9,
Didn't Fairy used to do a product like that, and they changed their formula, and now it's crap.
who?
Fairy, very clean and spray. It used to be in like a trigger spray. I used to use it for removing paint, but it was pretty good for pulling decals down. It was pretty good for cleaning up kits before you started working on them. They changed the formula, and now it's crap.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell how old this is. Safety regulations in these days. Clear contains, amongst other ingredients, less than 5% phosphates and 5 to 15% polycarboxylates. That's it.
Yeah.
So the other 80%, you don't know what it is. It might be pig's bladders. You know,
I wonder you haven't got
Nigel had hair when he bought that bottle.
probably did.
Wow. 92's just said, so perhaps we ought to do less of that, use basic modelling skills. After all, they're not basic to new modelers. That's that. I'm going to keep that. We'll have a debate about that in another Airfix and Chill. what is basic modelling skills. For me personally, basic modelling skills is you do what the instructions and what the tip sheet tells you to do. That's for me is basic. If it tells you to tells you to cut the piece and clean up the piece using an emery file or a file, that's basic modelling skills. But we can go on to that in another thing. So that's a good one. I'll keep that.
I was going to give you a quick example. What's
that, mate?
Basic modelling skills. They're basically on the top of every instruction leaf that you get.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Yeah, they are. That's what I'm saying. It's the same with
That's
Airfix.
basic modelling skills. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying. If you get a starter set, they got the.
Don't you think most of it is? Don't you think most of it's common sense?
It is to you because you know it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same with me. If you asked me to go and make you a roast dinner, I would not know where to start.
No, I wouldn't have a clue either.
I wouldn't have a clue.
No.
Ask me to build you a race engine. I'll build you a race car engine, no problem at all. Yeah. I can't cook you a Sunday dinner.
I can cook because I had to learn. But then Delia Smith was amazing. She taught me how to cook an egg. Alex, it's called Holloway House Quick Shine. It works great for putting decals down, also as a clear coat.
Yeah, I've never found that as good.
Okay.
And if you actually, I can tell you why, but it would bore the pants off most people. It doesn't have quite the same chemical composition.
Do a video on it, mate. That's the only way. Do a video on it. Do a video on it. Yeah.
The other thing you can try for those, I was amazed and I tried it and it really worked. If you watch my Wingnut Wings build, you'll see me doing it. And really get some PVA and really water it down, like 75% water. Brush that on the model first. While it's wet, put the decal down on that and then just roll it out and just leave it.
I think that's what decal set is, right? I think we had this discussion before. It's highly diluted PVA glue, right? I think
there's set and sol, and Alex knows all about this, but one of them, the set softens it, doesn't it, Alex, and makes it pull down, and then the sol just keeps it wet, doesn't it?
The sol softens them. The set basically, it kind of activates the glue. It's acid, basically. Well, acid or alkali, depends. Different ones do different things. But
yeah. See, I know somebody who soaks his decals in microset, but then he puts a layer of microsol underneath it, and then puts it on top. I don't know. I think microset and microsol is hit and miss.
It depends on the decals you're using.
Yeah, I use the VMS set.
Those border model decals you've got there, guys, on those Kates, do not use microset. Do not. They're wonderful decals. They're really thin and they're really tough. Use microset as soon as they go down.
Yeah, you said that sucks a bit, doesn't it?
Christ, do they go? You can't move them at all. They'll be sat on a puddle of stuff. It's bang, they go down. Don't use the microset under them.
Well, mine came damaged, so I have to. I have to use something else anyway. So yeah.
Just use water and then put some microsol over the top or whatever. Yeah. But I found if you just use water, you can slide them around all day long. But as soon as you put anything on there, bang, they're down and they won't move. Watch my Stuka. Oh no, you can't have taken it down.
Didn't somebody comment once early this year that you can use Tamiya extra thin? Really.
You can
thin down.
You have to be very, very careful.
Yeah.
So, for example, I would do that if, so say on an armor build. So if you're weathering that piece of armor and where the unit markings are or whatever, there's damage or significant paint chipping or whatever around where that is, then I would use extra thin on the decal to be able to achieve that effect. I have used extra thin when you've got a really stubborn decal that just won't. But approach with caution.
You can
Because it will disintegrate your decal pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about the names of all of the... Sorry, Nigel, go on.
leveling thinners on Bandai decals. If you're doing an instrument panel,
Yeah.
Bandai decals are about this thick. They just go down then. But again, sorry, Alex, it depends on the decal. Now, that shitty bloody Takom Apache I've got, I want to get the decals off. I've tried extra thin. I've tried leveling thinners. It won't touch it. It's like paint on glass. It won't touch it.
Like wallpaper.
God knows what they are.
Really?
But I am very, very, very thankful to Brett because he sent me a set of the aftermarket decals, which I haven't got around to using yet. I did plan on finishing it for Telford, but it's not going to happen. But I will finish it by the end of the year because all it needs now is decals and final weathering. That's it.
Did you use your own decals, Luke?
I tried. I did try.
I haven't tried them yet.
They're not great. They're not great because the problem is when you're scanning in the Takom decals and they'll print fine, but you have like a very slight blue tinge to the carrier film. Because obviously when you're scanning in the Takom decals, they're on a blue backing paper, aren't they? So then I went into Photoshop and tried to reduce the blue back as much as possible. But when you put them on, because it's such a dark, that Hilo drab is so dark, that I did notice there was a slight blue tinge. But then Brett contacted me and said, I'll send you a set because they were released in the US first. And they're phenomenal, those decals. They're awesome.
I've got 2 sets of those. I got mine from Hannon's.
Yeah, so I will finish it this year, but it won't be ready for Telford.
X20A, if Sol doesn't do it, never use X20A. I'm too scared to use. If they don't go down, and I think, fuck it, I ain't touching TNT. I just leave them. I just go over them twice with the gloss coat and the matte coat, just to try and get, I don't have much success with decals, to be fair. I'm a little bit, you got
an old Hobby Boss kit there, Moss?
Yes, I have.
Have you got any spare decals in there that you know?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, I've got the Bearcat actually.
I'll tell you what, those Hobby Boss Bearcat decals.
Those Hobby Boss decals are like fucking lino.
Are they?
See, I've had the opposite experience to that Bearcat.
I've got this one.
Actually, I'm nearly finished. I'm working on the base.
Oh, you got one of those.
But like you literally introduce the decal into the water and the fucking thing disappears. It just disintegrates.
Oh no!
Like the stencil detail and stuff. So when that Bearcat's finished, and it will be finished in time for Telford. But there's not going to be much stencil data on it. That's for sure. It's going to have some very.
Do you want some decals for it?
Thoughtful weathering. Hey,
are you just doing stars and bars?
No, I've done the Thai Air Force version.
I'll see if I've got any decals I can send you.
If you've got this stencil detail, that would be amazing. But those
I haven't got anything particular Bearcat, but I've got a load of decals I've been sent for review.
Yeah, they might work.
And
I even bought a second kit to see if the decals any better, and then better as soon as
Do you know what? That reminds me of when I did that bloody Ford GT from Airfix, that starter set, the old starter set. And they were cartograph decals. They were like spot on. Every time I'd do that gold stripe from the back end to the front, they always broke on the bonnet. You take them a bang, they just like rip apart. There's some manufacturing fault where I don't think there was a part where the what they call it, the clear on the top,
carrier film.
The carrier film didn't quite. So as soon as you pick up the gold, it's like a gold leaf, it would just split like that. So in the end, I laid it down, got 2 bits like 2 long bits, overlapped it, and shoved the number on top of it to hide it. That was the first time I've ever had any problem with cartograph decals. Was doing that gold strip at the front of put it on the video every time, bang, bang. But you find that sometimes that there's certain decals that as soon as I think there was a couple of frog kits, I thought, I'm going to do this frog kit, and as soon as I put the decal in the water, you can see it on video when I first started doing YouTube. It was like I went in the water, pulled the paper out, and it was just paper. The decal was like powder. Like powder it was.
It sound like Novo kits, Moss.
And that's what it was. Yeah, it was a Novo kit.
Novo kits. All the transfers and Novo kits are just disintegrate.
Those here and those that are watching, any Wingnut Wings kit with cartograph decals, they're very hit and miss.
Yeah.
And I thought I couldn't understand why they just weren't going down. And then Ray Rimmel, who is, if you know who Ray Rimmel is, he's like World War I extraordinaire. And he gave me the tip about the PVA, and he said I do that with all my Wingnut Wings kits now because you just don't know. You can get Top with Camel, buy them both on the same day from the same stock, and one's brilliant and one's awful. He said it's terrible. So bear that in mind, guys. Your expensive Wingnut Wings kits, the decals are shit. Just be all right then.
Anyone use white vinegar for decals? Well, that's what Michael's set is, isn't it?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah. Watered down vinegar. So have you got anything for your roast? Got some here actually in me silver skin onions. I can just use that and just water it down. Okay, well, a nice smell to it as well. I've used extra thin once to get rid of a really stubborn silver spot. It dissolved the carrier film and got rid of the silver in. But it was heart and mouth operation, not to dissolve the decal or paint.
Yeah.
So you just put it on and take it off again, do you? Or just gently leave it on there, I guess.
The way I do it, and it's personal choice. So I use an old airbrush needle. So you can't put too much on. Put a drop on, leave it, test and adjust, then another bit, and do it that way. I've seen people try it and they've used the brush out the extra thing.
Oh no!
It's just
You can't do that.
It looks like the broken Robocop that came out of the chemical plant. Isn't it?
You'll be like him.
That's the deco, isn't it? The deco. Yeah.
The other thing you can try, depending on the decal manufacturer, it doesn't work with all of them, is enamel thinners on a cotton bud. Just rub it under there, and it'll sometimes take the carrier film off and leave the decal behind. I've done videos on it, but it only works with certain decals, so test first.
I mean, there's a lot of talk out there, and some people are really good at it with the new Edvard decals. About
Modeling Weekly,
removing that carrier film, and they look painted on. They're really good if you've got the technique down. I've tried it, made a real mess of it. Kit went in the bin because it just was crap.
Modeling Weekly uses spirits to get them off.
Yeah.
And if you've got that technique down, you can get some really good results. But I haven't got it down, and it ruined it.
This is why Edard are just they at the moment when it comes to their decals, Edard are dog shit because they shouldn't have done it unless they actually got the system working absolutely spot on every time. The amount of people who say if you buy that Edard kit, you've got to buy actual aftermarket decals now because
I would now.
Yeah.
The other problem is I've got that bloody 100th B17, and it's got about 12 options in it. So that's one of the big attractions about the kit. But what gives you the 12 options? The decals.
Yeah.
Shit. So
I don't know why they've not reverted back to the old school decals. People pissed off with them. As I say, Matt, Johan from Modeling Weekly, he's done it, but he hasn't done many Edard kits, to be fair. And those who have done the bloody 100th, I've just left the carrier film on. They haven't taken the carrier film off, and it looks thick then, doesn't it?
I don't know why they didn't go down the HGW route. If they wanted a carrier film less, because HGW decals, you put the decal down with this film on there, and you leave them for 2 or 3 hours, and then you peel the film off.
Yeah.
It leaves the decal down with no carrier film, and they're brilliant. I don't know why I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I'll have to have I don't want to use that kit, I might just keep it.
As I said, I just think they should have got the old school where you would get the bit of what you wanted, lay it on top, get a pencil, rub it, and then
That's what Starfix use, Moss. Starfix use those.
Yeah. I used to use them when I used to do graphic design. We used to get the old ABCD and lay it on, rub it with a pencil, then the next one, then the next one.
Yeah, you get the stars and bar transfer, and you just rub it on the front edge.
Yeah,
with a pencil, and then peel it off, and there it is. It's like an
there it
actual
is.
transfer.
Yeah, decals is a trial of patience. Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, they are.
I wonder what their instructions are for decals.
Mm.
Does it say just buy aftermarket, Nigel?
Mm.
Don't use our decals, they are shit.
Yeah. Are you the man? Yeah, Richard WL, we've all been there, mate. I've many a time I've wasted £7 tipping over a bottle of Microsoft bollocks in it. Even in the container, you know. Yeah.
But you could make use of your Humboldt 3D printer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just make one of those.
Yeah.
Put it in one of your Tamiya jars, boss.
yeah.
Haven't you got some of those, Moss? Some of those stands?
So what I've got is this one's from a company called Bulldog Models, and
There you go.
that's what I've got. I've got them, and I've got my Microsoft. But also, you can use the little bottle. Somebody put this on. If you these little brushes come with the plastic magic.
Mm-hmm.
So you get these little bottles, and these actually fit inside the lid. They just slot in. You can glue them in.
Yeah.
And use that for your mic. So you just got to dip it in and dip it out, like so. It's not the best, you know. It needs to refine it a little bit, but yeah, that's what that stinks at Microsoft. But yeah, that's you can see why I've tried to glue it using super glue from VM, but it's come away. But yeah, that's another way of doing it.
All I did years ago was I got a piece of that white packing foam.
Yeah.
And just put a hole saw through it. 1 inch diameter, and that, just stand it in that.
That's a good idea.
I'm full of them.
Full of them. How do you get on with ICM decals? They always fall apart on me. You're not the first person to have said that, to be fair. I've heard ICM can be a little bit hit and miss because they're not cartograph, are they?
No, ICM decals they're really good. They're really well printed. They've got really good color density and registry. They're very thin. So you've got to be careful. And they don't play nicely with being moved around a lot. Like the cartograph decals you get in Airfix kits, you can slide them about quite easily.
Cartograph Airfix are the best.
Yeah, ICM decals don't like that. So you really want to put them where you want, like straight on. And if you leave them too long in the water, they have a real tendency to fold up on themselves if they come off the sheet as well. So it's easy to screw them up. They're not the easiest to use, but they do look good when they're on. So
do you guys submerge your decals in water?
Yes.
Warm water.
I usually dip them in and then take them out.
No, I don't do that. I don't
do that.
What I do, well, my technique is I've got a bottle here, which I got from Amazon, and that's got about 4 or 5 drops of washing up liquid in, and I put it in hot, shake it, let it cool. Then I just put the decal on kitchen roll, and just drop the water on top of the decal, then just leave it.
That's all I do.
Because I don't like too much water around on my desk. I'd rather have a damp kitchen roll sheet and a couple of dots of them on there. And also now I've been using this. Is Jonathan Mock suggested this? Putting washing up liquid in, it slides it around a lot easier into position. Then just leave it. Then I put the Microsoft in, depending on how the decal goes down, like So
I brush.
Idea, Moss. I like that.
I use one of those, like those water pen things.
Yeah.
Warm water, same thing. Put it on. I don't use kitchen roll. I use the one of the like sponge things out of a wet palette. Put the decal on that, and then I put the water onto the decal rather than submerge the decal into the water. That's how. But I was just interested whether you guys actually submerge the decal into.
I submerge them in water, but I use one of these to take them off the paper sheet.
I literally hold mine in tweezers, in the water, out on a blotting pad.
I slide it up to the edge of the plate, with the brush, and then just lift it off the paper sheet and apply it to the model with the brush. And I don't usually have any issues with transfers falling, folding on themselves or dropping the bits, or unless they're Novo.
Yeah, I'm the same as Nigel. I'll dip them in with tweezers. So I'll submerge them in tweezers, put them on the, wherever I've got on the bench usually. But then I'll do as John does. I usually use a brush to actually apply them.
It's less aggressive, isn't it?
And
It's quite hard. It's quite hard to detriment the decal with a brush because it's soft.
Mm-hmm. And you can often use the brush, the bristles. I mean, it's never a new brush. It's like an old, usually an old knackered one that's specially for the purpose, which has got all fingers of bristles. Yeah. But you can often use that almost like a little soft tweezer to actually hold the edge of a decal, a larger one.
Underneath the decal and lift it off.
Yeah. So I've got a couple because I've got ones that will just go underneath for really small ones, and knackered ones like that to kind of hold the larger ones.
But the trick is not to force the decal off the paper sheet.
Yeah.
They've got 2 bloody great instruction manuals in this kit with 6 options for decals, and nowhere to tell you how to do them. There's something here, Sescu Versi Textu Nalatina. That may be the instructions is on edward.com.
That means you should already know how to use decals, so we won't tell you here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, ours are different. Yeah. 16 options.
Oh.
How big is the decal sheet?
It must be 2 sheets.
It's that size.
3.
It's a note to get back in. It's that size and there's 3 sheets.
3 sheets.
Wow.
I suppose you haven't got one of these in the shop, Alex.
No, I was actually going to get some, but I've just...
Bloody
my God.
There's one there.
I need to move before I
there's another one there. There's another one behind it, and there's this one in front.
They look nice, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they do.
That's the letter D.
It's a pity your name's not Dave, Nigel. You could have monogrammed everything with those.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus. It's 144 quid. And I was offered it for 90 at the show. I was still with Moss at the time, wasn't I?
Yeah.
And he said, you can have that for 90 quid, Nige. Just give us your shout on your channel. Anyway,
yeah. See, somebody else did say, I've never had any joy with Hella decals. But they cartograph now, aren't they? Or was it Revell?
I mean, old tool Hella were, they weren't really an issue. I don't know who made them, but they weren't really an issue.
Is that not the chance to try and use Hella decals from old kit? That might be that the age of the decal world, the quality.
The bit that always surprises me with decals and Airfix is they put a tiny little logo on the corner of the box, cartograph.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Tammy used to make car crits? If they had cartograph decals, they had cartograph on the top of the box, the same size as Mazda, you know.
Yeah.
I reckon you've got to go to their website to see how to use their decals.
Yeah.
Well, bless them in holy. You've got to bless them in holy water.
I heard you got to sacrifice a baby.
All right. I heard you got to use unicorn urine as a setting solution.
Yeah.
Black gloves.
Haven't you got to dip the decals in holy water?
No. I don't think so.
No, elephant's piss.
Yeah.
That'll be
You gotta make
Dex
sure
for sure, won't it?
you gotta make sure. Yeah, you gotta make sure they're really well wet and covered with walking horse shit as well. Like, you know.
Oh yeah.
Fucking hell. Yeah.
From Sluggo.
Yeah. Where's he to? There he is. Yeah. Johnny Johnson Spitfire Airfix do them.
But you have to buy the kit together.
We've had this question before, Johnny.
Hasagawa did a Mark 9 Johnny Johnson Spit.
Julian's off.
Yeah.
See
He's
you,
got
mate.
to go to bed. His carer's there to put him to bed.
Cheers, Julian.
I mean, I understand your trepidation about ICM decals, but it's like any manufacturer, with the exception of fucking Tacoma patching. But
Yeah.
as long as you just practice on the decals you're not going to use, because generally in most kits there will be decals depending what option you're selecting, whatever, that you're not going to use. Just practice, see what works for those particular decals. Practice on an old bit of styrene or whatever. Find the technique that works for you and use them. They will work. They will work. It's just the same as kits. You know, every manufacturer will do things slightly differently.
Yeah.
So when you just practice, that's all it is. But don't not use them and buy aftermarket because you've heard some horror stories about ICM decals. Have a go with them.
Yeah, because some aftermarket decal manufacturers are a bit dodgy to use as well.
Well,
You know, and
that's exactly what I was just about to say, Alex. You know, I'm doing that Spitfire, and I've got where's the decals to? But each of these decals here for the Red Bull, they are the worst decals I've ever used. I have tried to get them to go flat, but everything because all it is a sheet with Red Bull printed on it in all different guises, shapes, sizes, different things, but they don't go down. And I've tried everything to get them. You know, at the point now, I'm like, fuck it, they could be silvered. I don't care. I'll go over it with some dust and just make them dirty. You know what I mean? They just won't lay down. I've tried.
I'll get them down.
See that? But I've had to cut, because this is just one sheet. I've had to cut really close to the words, and because it's just one sheet.
Are you putting them straight? Are you putting them down straight on outlaw paint with no clear coat?
No. I've done it. I've given them a gloss coat. I had a gloss coat, and they just won't go down.
Put some PVA under them, they'll go down. Or if you've got any future.
Yeah. I've just matte coated over the top now because I thought, fuck it, I can't be out spending more time on it. I've only got it away. So I've done matte. I put matte down, and it does made it a lot better. But like you can just see there underneath. You can see I've had to cut around because it's just one really cut close. But hopefully you won't see it because I'll take the picture from far away, so you just send that into Jadlam.
Must be photoshopping it.
But yeah, photoshopping it to Jadlam, yeah.
You're going to take the photo from the house.
My point was, because they are artisan, somebody's printed them and done it all for me. You have to then, you don't expect it to come off with no carrier film to be shown, because I've had to cut them as best I can. But yeah, that's basically it. But I'm chuffed a bit. Now I've done it, and it looks like a Red Bull racer. What I've got to do now is put the undercarriage on and the canopy on top, and I'm done and dusted with it. So make it dirty. I'm going to make it really dusty, like a racer. That's what I'm going to do. Hide it. Yeah, it's there's a good challenge though. How have you got with yours, Luke?
I didn't do one, mate, because I knew I wasn't on.
No.
Can I just please add something to what Luke was saying for the newbies earlier? Like he said, he's absolutely dead right. If you hear that a manufacturer's decals are crap, don't just go and buy aftermarket. Try them, because I'll give you a perfect example. I personally think Revell decals are quite good because they're either Cartograph or Zanetti or whatever that company's name is. You can tell by the suffix on the part on the decal sheet.
Yeah.
But I got some decals for an A380, and I wanted to see if I could use the enamel thinners on them to lift the carrier film.
Yeah.
And when I did that, it took the print off. Mm-hmm. The print was printed on top of the carrier film.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
shit.
I ended up with a clear decal.
The exact opposite of what you would have tried to achieve.
Yeah,
That's the old style decals, though, isn't it?
these
That's how
Tacom
they
decals,
always made them.
these Tacom decals in this Apache,
Yeah.
nothing. And what even makes it worse is the fact the model is covered in beautiful raised rivets. Otherwise, I could just sand them off.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare. But yeah, because also you'll hear people say Tamiya decals are shit, and sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not. Now,
I mean,
said
they
it,
can be thick.
decals fell apart. On my Hobby Boss Spitfire, you can see I've done a video on it online. Oh, did I struggle to get those to go down?
Yeah.
So they are hit and miss. But the only thing is Airfix Cartograph. When Airfix put Cartograph in their boxes, they are the best decals on the planet.
I agree, Nigel.
They are amazing.
Mm.
I reckon you can just stretch them and they go back. They're brilliant.
Wayne Welly, I found Academy decals are okay, but they seem thick. Yeah, there's swings and roundabouts to all of this. You know, swings and roundabouts to all of this.
Yeah, it depends on the Academy kits, Wayne, because they're quite. They can either be thin, or they can be cartograph decals on Academy kits.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
some of
think
them
the
are
Academy decals are good. I've used them. They're I like it when they're a little thick. But they're always in register.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
get
out of register decals are the worst because
yeah.
They're useless.
it kind of just obviates the purpose of them, doesn't it? It's just like, well, I might as well paint this. I could probably paint it more in register than it's been printed here.
You know what really winds me up? When you go and buy an Edward pre-painted cockpit set and it's out of register. What's the point? You know? Oh, you've got gauges that are here and the bloody dial. You've got a round gauge and the dial's up, you know.
Yeah.
Completely agree. Oh my god. Yeah.
Or you get decals where the RAF roundels look like they're the ice.
Yeah. Question, Luke and guys, what's considered the best 1/16 Sherman, Tacom or I Love Kit? Well, it's not I Love Kit because it's a shit name for a shit company.
I knew you were
I
going to say
Love
that.
Kit.
Yeah.
I Love Kit.
Nothing wrong with
Yeah,
I love
come on. Let's be fair. It's I Heart Kit. Come on.
I Heart Kit. I Heart Kit.
I
They
hate it.
used to be called
And then
So I built neither, so bear that in mind. However, someone I know quite well has built both. I've seen them both next to each other. I would say when they're next to each other, painted and weathered and everything else done to them, the I Love Kit Sherman is better.
and
And it's cheaper.
and if you look on Hannon's, it's on special offer at the moment as well.
Mm-hmm.
They've got it like 30% off or something.
We Heart Kit must.
yeah. Is that the one that Andy Hobby Central was done with
That's
Tacom, is it?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
Tacom one.
Right, okay. So you're paying the name for that, are you?
I heart kits.
Oh, it's Steve London.
I heart kits.
Yeah, Steve London.
We should get I Heart Kit T-shirts just to all wear them from us.
I tell you what,
I've built some
I Love
highly kit kits, and they've all been good. They've all been good.
yeah, their Art Royal is amazing.
I built
Their
their
Yorktown classes are amazing.
Principal of the name. Principal of the name. It's like a badge on the back of someone's car. That's, you know.
I reckon Outlaw's a shit name. All right.
It is. It is.
I what I saw today, right? I was in Tesco's, which is rare that I go to Tesco's during the day because it drives me insane, but I had no choice. And I'm stood in the queue for the checkout, and someone's wearing a hoodie, and on the back of the hoodie, it said, "If you're reading this, remember you are important." You virtue signaling wanker.
I like the one that was put on Twitter the other day, and it's a girl and it says, "If you're feeling sad, you can touch my boob." And I thought, how many women are gonna? How many women are gonna buy that T-shirt? How many women are gonna buy that T-shirt? That was on Twitter. That was an advert.
No, but how many men will buy it for their other half?
Right.
I think the best T-shirt I have ever seen was my mate was my mate was on his stag do, and his fiance gave him a T-shirt, and basically it was her face all over it, and then it says, "I'm watching you." It didn't stay on it for long, I'll tell you that much. I think it ended up on a flagpole somewhere in Poland. I think it did in the end. No, in Belarus, I think it was, or something like that. It was on a flagpole. Within an hour, you ain't going out wearing that.
Excuse me, guys. For Steve London, I've just had a look on Hannon's. The M4E3 E8 is £99.99. Third off, 150 quid retail. It's £99.99.
Wow.
Wow.
You can buy a top of paint or something because if it's over £100, you get free postage.
Yeah. See, also, I was going to say we've got a chap in our model club who built a beautiful tanky 116. Didn't even place in any of the competitions. And I think that sometimes when they're too big at competitions, they get overlooked.
Yeah,
it was beautiful. It had Zimmer on it, everything. It was such a beautiful build. Didn't place anywhere.
Yeah, one of our guys built the Tacom Jeep, but he then CAD designed and 3D printed everything to make it into long range desert group. The thing was phenomenal, beautiful. Didn't even place.
I think it's 16th is too big. I think the tank's great for RC, but saying that,
you've got to be. If you look at people like Spud Murphy, John Murphy, he does 16th scale stuff now, and they're phenomenal. Like they're so good, but you've got to be good at it to avoid them looking toy-like.
Yeah.
You have to
they're into 16th. I've got the Das Werk half track, the German one, which I'm going to be selling. And I've got the Das Werk Panzer III Aus J, which I'm going to be selling. So if any of you are interested in those, they're brand new in the box. They've been open because I reviewed them, but they're resealable bags anyway, so they're as new. If any of you are interested in buying them, let me know.
Put it on Vinted, Nigel. Best thing ever. When it's no model kits, do it on Vinted.
eBay's free now, isn't it?
No, only not for model kits, only for clothing, shoes, like that. Yeah.
I thought it was free.
No, there's a backstory to it, but I'll tell you after. Celtic reminded me of this actually. Everyone's seen Luke's lifeboat. Amazing job. It's looking great, mate. How are you getting on with your diorama? Is it finished yet?
Well, it's setting.
Is it? It's the butt clench time, is it?
There's no going back now. It's attached to the base. Like, if it doesn't work, it's ruined.
Can I give you a little tip? I know a chap who does model build dioramas, and I said to him, I goes, "How are you sure when it fits?" He goes, "What I do is I buy 2 kits, and from the second kit, I use the hull in it just to get it in position and do all the work. And then I lay the boat on." I thought, what a great idea. Expensive, but then I said, "Isn't that expensive?" He goes, "No, because what I then do is once it's done, I then just put the hull back in and sew that kit on." But uses it as a template, basically.
I wish I'd have done that. Because now I've got one chance to get it right.
Hindsight's 2020, Luke.
Absolutely. What will be frustrating, I know it's only a 20 quid kit, so it's neither here nor there, is it? But because of the amount of work I put into
the work, isn't it? Yeah.
I'll be devastated if the base doesn't work, because I'm just going to have to throw it in the bin. It'd be rude. Or
I'm sure it'd be good.
I could try and take the deck off the hull, maybe, because the deck is above the waterline. Maybe take the deck off the hull and then fit that, because that's where all the work is on the deck, obviously.
Yeah.
And then fit that deck to another hull, maybe.
I've got another hull if you need one.
But thank you. But I am confident that I can pull the base off. We'll see.
I'm gonna have to put another kit.
But No, allegedly, I've heard since that there's certain criteria. eBay was free and it's mostly clothes, bits, pieces, and that. But I don't think model kit's under it. We have to find out. But I was going to do it myself, and when I went to put it on my private account, it was still charging me 10p a listing or something like that, or 8p plus 2p charge or something. So looking into it properly, I'm not too sure. I think it's mostly clothes and homeware, and I don't think it's toys. I'm not sure it's toys. Model kits is under toys and games, you see. So check it out.
eBay are changing their payment model as well, aren't they? You have to actually action your payments to get them out of eBay now.
Yeah, but the thing is, so that's not really here or there. That was the downfall with eBay. Because when they went to their own payment structure, as soon as you got paid, you got the money. But when people used to use PayPal, they would forget about it and go, I'll buy that instead. Use my PayPal account to buy stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Anyway, so right, look at the time already. We've done quite a bit tonight. We started with clues. We've ended up with Luke there biting a chunk out of his chair, from squeezing too hard with his arsehole, making sure that the lifeboat. I said, just a tip for next time: just get a second kit and use that as a template.
It's like that Alanis Morissette song, isn't it? It's the good advice you just can't take.
Isn't that ironic?
Ironic. Yeah.
Just to say, Moss, there's a guy commenting here, Leslie.
Yeah.
Selling on eBay is now free. We've removed transaction fees. So it looks like he actually works for them.
Really? Well, fair play then.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah.
I got an email about transaction fees being free.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
Yeah.
Don't do it for us as business sellers.
The only thing, I mean, maybe Leslie could comment again. The thing that worries me is the wording. They can say it's free. It might be free to list, but they still charge you 20% when you sell.
Yeah.
Yes,
You know?
transaction fees. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's the thing about with the vintage. You see, I think they got it right first. Where as I'm a dealer on eBay. That's what my main job is. The vintage came along and basically shook up the whole thing. Whereas if you pay me to ship it, it's my responsibility to get it to you. Whereas the shipping is all done through vintage. If it goes missing, it's not my responsibility because I've already done what I said I'd do, is put it into the shop. So I've got models on vintage for sale.
Oh, we could answer one more question, Ross. The crowd was asked, would any of you British builders here ever build and paint the figures of King Charles and Queen Camilla? Because that's a nice, easy one. No.
Fair enough.
I love King Charles and Queen Camilla, but I wouldn't do figures of them because I can't do figures. I can't paint them.
End up looking like they'd end up looking like Nigel.
They'd end up looking like they need to be in a zoo.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. Right, anyway, folks, it's 10 o'clock. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to go off now and I've got to go to bed because I've got to care. If anybody knows of a model club or model shop around the Keswick area, let me know because I want to go exploring. So if there's any model shops in that area, let me know. I'll go and visit them this week. I'm going up there tomorrow and spending some time. I'm going to Keswick, yeah.
Jesus.
I know, but my family lives there, and I got a godson that I want to start building models with. So I'm kitting him out. I got this which I got given. And I've just kitted out with tools and everything, and I've got 3 scouts, little starter sets: the Tiger 1 tank, a Spitfire, obviously, and what else have I got in? Yeah, and a Lightning F-35B. So I'm going to go build them models in this week. So that's the plan.
You'll take my Land Rover, Moss. That's Keswick Green.
Yeah, you said. Oh, there's that. Yeah. I remember you saying that on your channel.
I want to drive anyway, get it parked in front of a sign that says Keswick.
Yeah. Right. Thanks all for watching. We'll be back next Monday with. I'm really interested. What is basic scale modeling skills? Where do we start? That's a good. We want to use that one next week. Yeah, we'll do that one next week. Anyway, folks, see you next Monday. Cheers all.
Cheers,
and goodbye.
bye.
Cheers. Bye. Bye.